All right. William Schrader, are you on?
I am.
Excellent. Just want to make sure your microphone was working. So thank you everybody for joining us again on this year's GP user group meeting. And we're going to hand it over next to William Schrader. He's going to talk about the Power Platform. It's all yours, William.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me do this right. All right. I missed all your other sessions today, so I apologize for that. So sit back, listen, watch presentation, relax if you have to. I have nothing interactive here today, no demos or anything like that. A lot of data, information to cover. Hopefully it'd be very informative, maybe even, I don't know, fun. I try to take what I've learned, what we have learned here at Turnkey, and distill it down to a 1 hour presentation. May not have much time for questions at the end, but I'll do my best to get through these without talking too fast. I will walk you through the overview of the Power Platform. And there's a lot to this, so I'm going to walk kind of through the evolution so you understand why it's there and why you need it, how you can use it, how it applies to GP, to Dynamics GP. I'll also convince you, I'll try to convince you that you can use it, and I'll tell you why you need it. Now, obviously, data is at the center of everything that we do in the Power Platform. Talk about how it can interact with GP data. We'll also touch upon pricing. So again, what is a Power Platform? How you can, how we can use it. Why do we need it if we can use it? What is the data? How do I handle access my GP data? How do I handle access my big data? Additional thoughts on that. How does it look? How does it feel? Is it the only option? And obviously it's not the only option, but this is about the Power Platform. So etc. on that. How much does it cost? Obviously a solution that you can't afford is not a solution. Licensing in general is confusing, so we'll do what we can to provide some insight into eliminate some ambiguity in that. Like I said earlier, if time allows, we'll either take questions during the chat, during the session chat, or we'll save it for the end of the session. All right. So, who am I? Ask myself the same question on a daily basis. So, I'm William Schrader. I go by Billy informally. Formally go by William. Started here at Turnkey recently. I'm a developer, software engineer by education and by trade. I worked previously with another partner for a long time. And before that, for another partner. So I've been active in the Microsoft partner channels for 23 years now. A variety of roles from developer to IT manager to director, and I'm back to a kind of a hands-on role helping to forge a path with Microsoft development, Power Platform here at Turnkey. I come from C++, C#, .NET background. Heavy emphasis is on database development and business intelligence. And as you'll see, hopefully throughout this presentation, that lends itself nicely to Power Platform. Okay. We'll turn off my camera now, though. I can concentrate on the content. So, what is the Power Platform? That's a pretty simple question, right? And it's actually a powerful answer to that. It's a low-code platform that spans Office, it spans ERP, in this case GP, and it spans standalone applications. Maybe not ERP systems, but other applications that have data. It allows innovation anywhere and unlocks value everywhere. Now, all right, so this slide here is available online. You can go online right now, find the same exact slide. My objective is to help you understand what this all means, right? I understand how your teams can use the Power Platform and how it can fit into your business strategies. Left to right, Power BI, that's presentation, analytics, reporting, dashboarding. Power Apps allows you to capture, edit data. Power Automate allows you to move that data around, essentially. There's more to it than that, right? But that's essential concepts here. The final two, the virtual agents, the Power Logic Connect app. I'm not going to talk about those too much today, other than to give the context that they are part of the Power Platform. And if you did your own research, you'll find references to those two tools as well. What does that mean? So great, it's a low-code solution. Well, it's a suite of Robotic process automation software as a service applications. That's a fantastic word salad right there. So you hear robotic, people think AI. And while there are some AI elements in Power, not part of the scope of this conversation, robotic in this sense means it's rote. It's, I don't want to say mindless, but it's things you kind of have to do your job. You move data around, you got to pay your bills, you got to send out vouchers, you got to send out invoices, you have to onboard employees, you have to create expense reports, things that are just rote, right? Not a lot of value added by doing those, but it's part of the business. It provides connectivity to data. At its core, the Power Platform, for all its fancy marketing, it just provides access to data. That's what it does. It reduces the friction that is inherent between presenting data, capturing data, and moving data around. It reduces that task friction. If you already have Microsoft M365, it's part of that SaaS solution, the Power Platform is. Depending upon licensing models, it's part of the SaaS solution. As I mentioned earlier, consists of Power BI for reporting, Power Apps for lightweight apps, Power Automate for moving data around. I'm going to say that a lot today, data movements, forgive me. And as I mentioned earlier, a virtual agent or a chat bot. I go to the Turnkey website, we've got a little chat bot. If you go and support there, it just helps to gather data. The difference between Power Platform and that is it actually can act on that data almost as if there's some AI built into it. And Power Apps, Power BI, integrate seamlessly in Teams so you can have one user experience for Power Platform, not having to go to multiple applications to do things right there inside Teams. And it's no code or low code, rapid solution development. So for that piece, the goal of the Power Platform essentially is to make folks like me obsolete or somewhat redundant. Now, boring developers fall off the chairs. IT developers are still necessary, right? Because these are lightweight apps. These are not enterprise-wide apps. Although you could, in theory, create a whole enterprise application using a Power Platform, but at its core, they're lightweight apps on a mobile device. IT, therefore, is still necessary, so no friction there, including developers, for the complex desktop and web development. All right, you're not going to create a whole website with these tools. Again, you could fake it, but not really. There really is no difference between the Power Platform and something like Excel Online. The things you can do inside of Excel are pretty robust. So think about this as a natural extension to Microsoft Office, macros, and extensions built in, add-ons built into Office. Let me say this another way. Microsoft wants to enable the business users, those folks likely on this call here, enable the business users, those folks closest to the data and the daily use of that data, to be able to create solutions with that data without having to explain what you want to do to maybe someone who doesn't know your data like you do. All right. Be able to rapidly create solutions to streamline your processes. You're going to hear terms like synergy and process enablement, and a really good one here. This is a good one. We're ready for this one. Frictionless usability. But at its core, the Power Platform has been developed for non-developers to innovate ideas, to extend ideas, to automate rote business processes. So that is the Power Platform at the marketing side of things. Now, make sure you provide your criticality here so that you are alerted to how can you use it, right? Great, it exists. How can you use it? Well, it's part, like I said, of M365 E3 and above, and that might have changed. But again, you can do a little bit of research on that. But it's part of the license level within 365, gives you certain access to Power Platform tools. Power BI gives you access, insight into your data. Power Apps provides interfaces into that data. It's great to be able to report on your data. Any tool can do that, really, right? If you want some more interfaces into the data, that are a little bit more robust looking than maybe an Excel form, Excel spreadsheet, Power Apps allows you to do that. Power Automate, process automation, or think like a workflow engine, lack of a better term, provides movement for that data. And data can be ones and zeros, bits and bytes, or just information, right? Just allows the information to be moved around. Point A to point B, from person to person, from system to system. And the other two things I'll put on here just for completeness, not part of this conversation, are the virtual agents and then really robust Power Logic Connect apps, which likely requires a developer. So first three on the left, Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate. That's the scope of this conversation here today. And obviously, easy Microsoft Teams integration. For those of you that are using Teams, today you are, in these sessions, it allows these to be built right into Teams so that your users have one spot to go to for these apps. So,
as well as the scheduled date
So-
for the project start in and go live date.
it's great now that we know the Power Platform is. Like any solution, if you can't use it, it's not a solution, right? So, have you used Excel functions? A lot of folks are heavy Excel users, nothing wrong with that. You can hear me reference Excel often during the session. Excel has morphed to be somewhat enterprise application tool. It uses a database, reporting tool, development platform, data capturing, that's fine. So if you can use Excel, you can learn Power Apps and Power BI. Can you drag and drop? I'm guessing yes. If you can drag and drop, you can learn Power Automate. Okay.
Check out those events and register for.
Do you not use a web browser? Well, chances some of you are on a web browser right now. So I'm assuming, yes, you can indeed use a web browser. Power is available via the web. You know, there are some desktop components to it. Power BI desktop and report builder and the fancy logic app stuff is all downloadable to the web, to your local machine. But Power Automate, Power Apps, and Power BI can all be done within your Office tenant without installing anything on your machines, which is great for IT purposes. That allows your business users to become Microsoft's term citizen developers.
CSP portal,
All right.
and view that information.
Citizen developers, not software engineers, but citizen developers. Develop just enough to do your job. You do more than that if you need to, but you're just going to do enough to do your job and to automate your job and to eliminate the rote concept of certain aspects of your job duties.
And a Microsoft Gold partner. And to tell you what that means.
So how do I get there? Well, this is a screenshot of the Office 365 tenant. You know, I'm not on camera here, so you want to go to your Office tenant now, see if you have Power. You'll see Power BI, Power Automate, and Power Apps as part of your licensing. You click on any one of those three, would basically start a wizard to get you where you need to go. And there's more to it than that, right? But it is that simple.
Exactly what we at Turnkey want to do here for you. We want to facilitate your access to the cloud. We want
All
to
right.
help you.
So we are now 9 slides in, and I'm only going to tell you why you need it. So we know Power BI or what Power Platform is at some level. We think we can use it. Now, why do we need it? Today's world moves very fast, right? Really fast. So we have daily, almost hourly needs for custom solutions of some sort, no matter how heavy they may be or how light they may be. So you need to kind of couch that to kind of balance your need for a solution. Okay, Top Gun, right? Against the need for speed, right? Left or right, as your complexity increases, number of users increase, your organization usage increases, you've got to be able to build your solutions in weeks and not months, or maybe days and not weeks, or heck, hours, not days, depending upon your need, right? You don't need to be a developer to do any of that. Does it hurt? Of course not. Of course not. But you don't have to be a developer to use the Power Platform. So what does all this mean? Well, all the tools can do what we're talking about here today. So make no mistake about that. It's not the only game in town. But it is Microsoft's presentation. It's Microsoft's tool. It does allow you to control your costs. Because custom dev is expensive. It just is. It's just the way it is. It's expensive. But on top of that, though, BI, depending upon the needs of the BI, which you're trying to analyze, display, present, can get very expensive as well. So this allows you to control costs and to control your data and your processes and own both.
All right, great.
Right? It allows you to create these lightweight apps, create lightweight or actually kind of complex dashboards. It allows you to move data around and you control all of that. Control your data and your processes. Okay? All through your own dashboards. That's some examples here I'll show you how they could look in Power BI. Design your own mobile apps. Now, I haven't talked about that much. But a couple examples I'm going to show you have the same aspect ratio of a phone. So you can actually create a mobile app using Power Apps and then download, I don't want to say the word app again, but download a component that allow you to use that Power App on your phone without having to worry about iOS or Android or anything like that. You just create the app, put it on your phone, connect to your data, and run your processes. Do your own workflows. That's kind of subdued, right? But you can do a lot with the workflow, moving data around, moving emails around, moving files around, all within Power Automate. You can, if you wanted to, again, this is part of the virtual agent, which isn't really part of the scope, but you could create your own customer service rep, just like Amazon's got. Other facilities have, all within the Power Platform. Obviously, you can leverage the power of Microsoft. They're not going anywhere. Whether you want to say they innovate or don't innovate, debatable, but the fact is they have the Power Platform and they're always improving upon it. In fact, I would probably venture to guess some of the screenshots today are no longer current based upon what you might be seeing out there now. Most features, like I mentioned, are available via the browser, and no software deployment is required. Okay. It also allows that seamless integration into teams. And going back a couple of slides, we can build solutions in weeks and not months. If we go back to the pandemic and casinos were closed, and the casinos were opened again, they didn't have a lot of time to prepare for it. And a lot of them opened up with capacity restrictions. So one casino in particular in Atlantic City had 3 weeks to go from the conception of a solution to actually open the doors. They needed to keep track of who was in the casino at all times. They'd be able to count those. You know, they have 5 entrances and exits to the casino. And they had to know who and how often they were in there, how long they were in there. So they turned the Power Platform. They created a Power App that could be downloaded into a phone to allow folks to register for a time in the casino. When they hit submit on that Power App, print out a QR code. Then take the QR code on your phone, you go to the casino at your allotted time. They would scan your QR code at the turnstile, at the door, at the entrance, using their own Power App to register you as being in the casino. And when you left one of the 5 exits, they scan you again, and they know that you're no longer in the casino. At any point in time, they knew who, how many folks were in the casino by using Power BI. They had 3 weeks to do this. Delivered it in 2 weeks, a week of testing before they opened the doors, all within the Power Platform with very little code deployed. Low code, no code. I would challenge any developer on this call, myself included, to do the same thing less than for 3 weeks. That is the power of the Power Platform. Okay. If you do happen to go down the path of using Azure, then you can also leverage the security and availability of the Azure Platform as a Service offering. So what about the data, right? GP data in particular, but data in general. Well, we know we need to go faster. We need to get solutions out the door quicker, whether they're turnkey doing them for you in the Power Platform, or your own internal teams, or maybe you yourself on this call take initiative and creating your own solutions. You already have the data. You have to get the solution out the door faster. So how do you do that? Well, you know your data best. You know the best way to access your data. You know the best way to interpret your data. You already have the data. Well, wait, what data are you talking about? Well, it doesn't matter really, right? But Dynamics GP user group sessions. So GP data, right? Let's focus there. But it's not just GP. It's any cloud-based data. It could be Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't know how you integrate that into GP. Maybe you have a marketing campaign, or maybe you're going to have Power Automate create a tweet, a marketing tweet, by taking numbers from GP automatically, saying year over year revenues increased 12%. You know, we're doing great. Join us. You know, concepts, the ideas are kind of endless. What you could do with all of this data. That's the beautiful thing about the Power Platform, is it gives you the ability to kind of think about what you want to do, not really much how you want to do it, right? You have all the Excel data. Maybe it's online in 365, or you got it on premise, and you want to incorporate reporting with that data, with the GP data. Now, can you do that with other tools? Certainly you can. But with Power BI, especially, you can have really graphical, gauge-based data that, according to the person consuming that data, they don't care where it came from. They don't care at all. It's GP, or it's maybe CRM, or maybe it's Excel. They don't care. It's on dashboard. It looks great. You don't really need to know how it got there. So that's what you can do here. The data you can access. If you can think about it, the data probably exists. Remember, data is just information. So what information you want to present or use or enter or capture or spit out, Power Platform can do that for you. I'm going to mention the DATAVERSE only for this reason. When you're in your Power Platform tools, whether it's Power App, Power BI, Power Automate, or anything else, you're going to see the term DATAVERSE. So I will define that quickly for you here. It's formerly known as Common Data Model or a Common Data Service. Again, you can do, as you look and research on this, you might find those terms as well. It means the same thing as a DATAVERSE. It may even change names again, who knows. But it allows you to create and manage data structures. I hesitate to use the term tables, right? But data storage without developer tools. You can say, I wanted to create a storage element to store my casino patrons using a DATAVERSE. And store that data is like a SQL does, or Access does, or any other database tool may. I started off 19 years ago, so it's pretty mature, as the backbone of CRM. For those of you who know CRM or CE or sales, I don't know what they call it anymore. That's how they store their data, as in a DATAVERSE. Especially Microsoft CRM Online, it's all DATAVERSE storage. You may know the terms entities, fields, option sets, same thing as tables, columns, and choices. It's simply an application layer that incorporates security, duplicate detection, things of that nature, on top of the data layer to access that data. It's not a database, though. It's just a conceptual model of data. Okay? All right. Take a deep breath there. What does all this mean? In the Power Platform, so there basically is an application interface, application programming interface, or an API. Software vendors or publishers, all right, they can create connectors to access their data model. The proprietary data model might be locked down. They can create their own connectors. They can be plugged in to the Power Platform. You know your data, but they know their data model. Have them worry about that and not you or maybe a developer you're using. Let the data publishers themselves define a data model. Allows extensibility, which means you can obviously extend it and plug and play creation by those vendors. So they just create a new connector, you drop it in, it quote just works. It connects the Power Platform literally to the world, right? Amazon Web Services, Google, I mean, all are available via the Power Platform. For those of you who are familiar with ODBC or DSN connections for GP, this essentially is the same thing. It's just world-based connectivity and not SQL Server or GP-based connectivity. At end, there are, I mean, last count, probably close to 500, but 400 plus pre-built connectors that are available to be used within the Power Platform. 400. Now, there's no way I could even think about listing a subset of those. So just, I think I picked one row here online. this flow.microsoft.com ENUS connectors. I encourage you during this session here to go out there, click on this, or go out this link here, go out this site, look at the connectors available. They're searchable. You can see what's out there. Some say premium, requires a premium license, like these things later on in the session. But it's almost as if you imagine it, you think it, there is a connector for it. Now, GP user group. Is there a GP connector? No. But GP, as Ian talked about earlier here today, lives in SQL Server, right? So you have a SQL Server connector. It's a premium connector, but still, this connector allows you to connect up to GP data. Or those of you who have web services installed for GP, there is a REST API connector available. Allows you to plug the Power Platform right on into your GP web services. Okay. So now you define what the heck it is and why you need it. What can you do with it? Okay, some examples here. These are Power BI dashboards, sample Power BI dashboards. Data is kind of irrelevant. It's more the look and feel here that's important. But you can see what you can do with a Power BI dashboard, gauges and visualizations here. This data, unlike Report Writer, unlike Crystal Reports, unlike SRS, these parameters that they're defined, I'll show you the next page it looks like. These parameters are defined, you can just change those real time in the dashboard and have it refresh your view of the data as the parameters change. No more entering a parameter, click and run or submit or process or okay, waiting for a spinning progress bar to complete and show your data. This data is real time when it's loaded into the data model. You change the parameters, you change your view. It creates anytime, anywhere, interactive dashboards. And that part is actually key. It's interactive. Report Writer, SRS, not so much, right? But these dashboards are interactive. You make a change to one widget, one panel, one visualization, it can update other visualizations, other panels, other data elements in real time. And I'm saying real time with star next to it. For those of you who know Power BI, you can tell me, hey, no, it's not real time. No, I know. But the data model itself, once it's loaded, is real time. Okay. So what else can you do with it? Well, here's an example. You can create just, at a glance statement. This is not a true financial statement, obviously, right? But it gives you an idea what you could do with the Power BI dashboard. I think I created this as a sample in about an hour. Probably less time now. I did this a couple years back. All right. And if you go up here, the fiscal year, you click on 2018, this would change in real time, like immediately, depending upon your internet connection. It would change real time to show you how the data looks. You don't have to wait for it to spin or to refresh. It just updates itself. All right. More. Well, of course there's more. There's always more. You can create a paginated report, very similar to SRS report. Those of you who know SRS, looks something like this. And this would be basically a trial balance, I believe. You can change the sliders. These are called sliders. If you drag this, you'll see data in the bottom portion, the table here, would change as you drag your slider. Same thing with the journal entry. Back and forth, it would change the view in, call it real time, right? Same thing with the account numbers. You change one of these, this updates momentarily as it renders, as it draws itself, but it's not gathering data, it's just rendering the data. Okay. So that's Power BI in a nutshell. And I hope there's interest in Power BI because, I think we'd like to offer a breakout session at some point in the coming months here. We talk about Power BI in detail and go through, a demo and creating a report from scratch. So that's presentation of data. You say, well, hey, dude, you also talked about Power Apps. Yes. So here, create low-code mobile apps that you can do with Power Apps. And again, I'm saying mobile, so you don't really want to think about creating a desktop app with the Power App. Some folks might say, yeah, but you could. Yeah, you could. Should you? Debatable. So think about Power Apps as creating a mobile app, a low-code or no-code mobile app. Some examples here. Maybe you want to do a PTO request form, submit that to your HR department, something like Paylocity already has. Maybe you want to create your own. Maybe you want to create a cash receipt Power App that your CFO or something really, really important, like a CFO or CEO for that matter, sits on a beach somewhere, looks at daily cash receipts, can maybe click into this amount field, see details of it, and even maybe enter a note that's fed back to GP, either in the OLE notes section or somewhere else on the page that updates and gives some thoughts as to the cash receipt. And just example, right? I mean, it's a silly one, maybe, but you can think about what you could do with that data. Then you're really fancy. Maybe you have a tablet aspect ratio. The first two on the left were phone aspect ratios. This would be like a tablet. And maybe you want to have, this is maybe a poor example here, but this is an example of a field service, truck washing. It could be anything here. It could be you've got technicians who are out servicing fleets of trucks or vehicles or buses or whatever, and they want to enter data in here and have feedback up to field service and GP. Or maybe you want to have, maybe you've got sales reps who are going location, location, customer, customer, taking orders in person, entering into a handheld, push data up to GP, all from a tablet using commodity software. You don't need to worry about whether it's iOS or Android. It's just Microsoft Power App pushing data up to GP or pulling data down from GP. And if you can think about it and the data exists, you could build a Power Platform. Is there another Power App use case? There's always use cases, right? But real quick here, and this is probably a bad screenshot, so forgive me, but imagine that this, Cole Williams, maybe in order to enter in an expense, she has to log in, download the form, fill it out, send it back to distribution list and email. Someone on that list gets that form, processes it, approves it, whatever the case may be, and then manually enters it into GP for processing. And that seems ludicrous, right? But it actually happens. That's a real business case. New process could be the user submits that via a Power App embedded in Teams. That's available from your phone app, right? There's a Teams phone app. Or in Teams phone app, you have this expense solution. You fill it out, you send it right there. It's populated in GP automatically and routed based upon the data entered. Another example, I've been using SRS since it was beta, 2003, which is mostly meant as a presentation only reporting tool, right? You present data on screen, you process it, look at it, you print it out, you're happy, you go on your day. I'm often asked if users can take that data in SRS and interact with it, maybe make changes to it, offer thoughts on it. The answer is obviously yes, but it's not seamless, which means you have to create a web page or a portal, then have a drill down or some other mechanism to get to that portal from SRS, handle security, the handle dropping the users back in SRS when you're done processing the data. You can do more with pure custom dev, right? But assuming no developer is available, it's not an easy task to make that happen. With Power Apps, this is what I find particularly intriguing. You could embed that Power App right into a Power BI dashboard and allow direct changes, with security privileges, obviously. Allow direct changes to the data with that no code or low code approach. Example maybe, and for those of you who have integration solutions right now, this might hit home. Maybe you've got an integration solution and you've got a Power BI visualization or some reporting tool right now that is showing you the status of integrations. Well, maybe now you see an error, you gotta contact somebody to fix that error. With the Power Platform, you got a Power BI, present that data in dashboard, and then give the end users, those folks who know the data best, ability to change the data right there so it fits the business rules with the Power App embedded in Power BI, and let a tool like, Power Automate or Scribe or Smart Connect, whatever tool you're using, try to reprocess that data and update the Power BI dashboard when success occurs, with no involvement from folks like me. Okay, that gives you the power, allows you to control the data, control the processes. Okay. This all sounds great, William. So to start from nothing, are there accelerators available? And the answer is pre-built templates. So, and probably more than that now, but so a resounding yes to acceleration on creating these tools. So you hear the term, there's an app for that, right? Well, there's a template for that. Just some examples, not any particular reason why I chose these screenshots I just did. Maybe you want to do Power Apps training. You want to keep track of some training, some requirements for employment or whatever. You do that in Power Apps. Maybe have that feed right into or out of GP HR module. Maybe you want to do some meeting captures. Maybe you have project meeting notes, and perhaps you're not a DevOps user and you use GP project accounting. Maybe you do. And maybe you want to have meeting capture, the notes in the meeting capture Power App, integrate back into GP project accounting. You can do that with a Power App. Maybe a help desk, service desk, field service. The example I gave earlier with, out in the field as a technician or a salesperson or whatever, have it talk directly to GP via Power Platform. You could be somewhere in the world. Your GP server could be in your physical office in a corner. You still have access to it via Power Platform. Budgets, expense versus actual. You want to enter in actual expenses with the Power App, not have to take up a GP license to do that, but you still want to have access to the GP budget data. Well, you can do that with the budget template here. Then HR, you have HR module. GP allows you to onboard folks. You can use the Power App to help to accelerate that process. Or maybe, heck, maybe using Paylocity or something like that for onboarding, but you want that talking to GP. You can create an interface between the two using the Power Platform to get there. Okay. Cool. Just other examples, just random selection of templates available for you. Won't linger here too long. Now, we talked about presentation of data, the capturing data or information. How do we move that data information around? What about the workflows, in other words? Well, formerly known as Microsoft Flow, Power Automate allows you to create task-driven, some event occurs, so this needs to happen, or data-driven, data changes, maybe a new customer's added to GP. You want to trigger a bunch of emails out. You don't want to use a GP workflow, you can use Power Platform from that. You can use a Power Automate component of the Power Platform to make that happen. Update records based upon a triggering event. Maybe like GP's business rules. You can find those, or maybe you want to use Power Automate instead. I'm just giving you ideas here. You manage all this from your browser. No GP license required to do this. Okay. What you see here is just an example of how they look in the browser. These are just 3 simple examples of, like a PTO example I gave earlier, of PTO submission form. That's it. But the point here is it's all available in the browser. You could lose your machine. You could get destroyed. All your data is up in the browser, just like Office, right? Just like Office. So how easy is Power Automate? Well, may all spin it. It's so easy, developers not required. Can you use one? Certainly you can. But you don't have to. That's how easy Power Automate is to use. So example here, maybe you want to set up an email reminder to yourself every week or whatever period you want to put there to remind you to call somebody, or maybe you want to have an email reminder sent out from GP automatically when vendor payments due. You want to hit the discount date cutoff. We'll have it generate email to you automatically. Just think about your emails on a daily basis, what they all mean, and how many they can be automated. You can do the Power Automate with no developer. Okay. I am very serious. It's all wizard driven. It is all wizard driven. Once you go to Power Automate, it asks you what you want to do, as you see here. And then from your answers here, we're talking through the next steps. And you can add tasks and other pieces to that canvas, the workflow via drag and drop functionality. All the way back, can you drag and drop? Yes, you can use Power Automate. The complex functionality can then be layered in as needed. You don't need to build the whole world at once. You know, use the hello world concept. Start small and build it brick by brick or flow by flow. And then as this shows you here, there are many templates available to help to accelerate Power Automate flow creation as well. Hopefully it's a fairly easy one to answer here, but how can they work together? Let's streamline our processes here. So in this case, this organization is already using Power BI. You see the far right there, using Power BI dashboards. But they have some inefficiencies throughout the process of maybe uploading, I'm gonna call an expense report. It could be a timesheet, it could be onboarding documents, it could be anything. Wherever the left side of the screen is irrelevant. Point is you want to get it into GP, you want to be able to report on it. Manual entry, right? Download, fill it out, email it, process it, maybe enter it manually, get into GP, then report on it. Well, how about we just do this? Create a Power App. Have it submit via Power Automate into GP. Have GP tell Flow, hey, I got it. You don't worry about it, it's being processed. Or it's approved, or it's denied, or whatever you want to put in there. Whatever happens here doesn't matter. And then you can report on it via Power BI. From this to that. Okay. That's how you make this all work together. Other cases. Now, there's always other cases, right? But trying to spark some ideas here. Like I said, you can set up automatic emails to remind maybe your customers that subscriptions are due. Maybe you have recurring billing in GP and you want to remind your customers that they need to make a payment, or use your mind on your imagination on that, what you can do with that concept. Or maybe internally, hey, you got this pretty big vendor, you can't be late paying this vendor. So let's make sure we have an email reminder set up. Maybe you flag it as a priority 1 vendor in GP, and you have GP send out an automatic email internally to your AP team saying, hey, you've got to pay this. Got to pay this. Set up once, this does this thing. You could have GP automatically create and submit EDI payments. Now, yeah, ACH is in GP, I get that, but maybe you want to do something more robust than that. Maybe you want more control over it than what's available to you in the ACH formats in GP. Well, maybe we create a flow to send data out to a trading partner. Or coming inbound, maybe you have a flow, connect up to an SFTP server, grab that file, bring it down locally to your network, and process it from there, massage it from there into GP. Or it brings down to your network, sends out an email to your internal team, they do the rest with it. Sky's the limit using Power Automate. And that's not hyperbole. The sky is the limit. The data is available, and you can define that data. You can define the process, and do all this with Power Automate. This example here kind of replicates solutions like BizTalk or Scribe or any other ETL tool. You don't have to use those tools. Should you? Could you? Maybe. But you could do it all in Power Automate as well. Now, I also want to say, the people probably cursing me right now, you can also extend all these Power Platform tools with C# and .NET. So you can have developers create components that maybe aren't available out of the box with the Power Platform. So this all works together. My point here is that you don't have to be a developer to create these types of solutions. Maybe you should be, but you don't have to be, okay? So keep that in mind. So, a couple more slides here. So maybe you want to route approval internally based upon clip levels, workflow approval levels. Excuse me. But you want to use Automate to strip attachments from emails, say there's a OneDrive automatically. That's actually fairly easy to do with Automate. I haven't talked about this yet, but there's a Power Automate desktop as well to help to automate your rote processes you run on a daily basis on your machine. That's part of the Power Platform as well. And again, for completeness, take all this a step further and create really powerful logic apps that probably do require a developer, but it's all part of the Power Platform. And like I said earlier, you can create an entire extraction, transformation, loading solution with no other software other than the Power Platform. Now you can say, well, should you? I don't know if you should, but you could. Okay, you could do that. GP data is on premise, right? And you say, yeah, but William, my data is hosted. It's still on premise. You know, it's still out there. So all your on-prem data is accessible in the Power Platform in one of two ways, either via the on-premise gateway, which serves data from your database to the Power Platform, or via the GP REST web services. The SQL Server connector, obviously, since GP lives in SQL, enables many other workflows or data access elements or points than the other connectors allow. So since GP's in SQL, that's all you need to worry about. It's in SQL, you can get to it, not a problem. It does, Power BI isn't really real time in that your data is not going to be up to date. It's about 15 minutes to half an hour behind schedule, depending upon your licensing level, versus 1 time per hour or 48 times per day. That's usually enough, but for like mission critical real-time data elements, perhaps other tools are best. The Power BI is great for that. Data does not change very often, like a historical trial balance, as an example. I'm not talking about security at all on purpose, but you can implement role-level security in Power BI to lock down what users can see, what data, based upon the data model itself. And the thing I like about it is you can establish drill downs and other links in Power BI to essentially create a web of data surrounding your dashboards. So your dashboard can be your entry point. You have a web of data around that, including elements of Power Apps and Power Automate. All right. Now, Power Platform is not the only game. We all know that. Other tools exist, but it's Microsoft's offering and integrates with Teams and on-premise data like GP. And it's available with E3 and above. So keep that in mind as you go into pricing here. So Power BI is free. You can go out right now, download Power BI Desktop, and you can start creating Power BI dashboards with your on-premise GP data inside the firewall confines or through VPN, and then save those dashboards as what are called PBIX or .pbix files. You can just share those files and folks can see the dashboard that you created. If you actually want to share in a workspace Power BI dashboards, you need a license, either Pro or Premium. And you guys see between Power BI Pro and Power BI Premium down here. Pattern reports, the example I gave earlier with the trial balance and GP, only available via Premium, $20 per user per month. And then you have the $10 per user per month for Power BI Pro, which allows you to create workspaces. Your Power Automate, then going back to Power BI, you need Power BI Premium if you want to use premium connectors via the platform itself. In other words, if you want to use SQL Server, Power BI Desktop, and not share that, that's free. If you want to publish the Power BI dashboard that talks to SQL Server data, you need to have Power BI Premium, since the SQL Server connector itself is premium. Okay. Power Automate is limited at the free level, but then from there you can see the pricing here, $15 to $40 per user per month. You can go out to docs.microsoft.com. You can find the precise licensing needs and how it all works. It depends upon your 365 plan. So that's something that just kind of somewhat fluid, right? But in essence, $10 per user per month for a Power BI dashboard. If you want to commingle existing SRS reports and Power BI dashboards, that requires Power BI Premium and the Capacity Planner, which is the Power BI Premium per capacity, and that's your that's your $5,000 per month solution. So there really is no reason to commingle those. You could have Power BI living where it lives, and SRS living where it lives, and just go on with your world that way. Okay, I have about 5 minutes left. Some closing thoughts here. If you're on Microsoft 365 E3 or above, you already have Power. Power BI itself is best for kind of the graphical mobile dashboard reporting If you want the standard tabular type reports you get inside Report Writer or FRX, or even SRS, then you wouldn't need to have Power BI Premium to make that happen, as those are called paginated reports. Right now, dashboard, think of it this way. A dashboard is basically one page. You can't span multiple pages and have it look nice on a printout. A paginated report, you can. You have page numbers and arrows to the next page and all that. Okay, that's the difference between Pro and Premium. Pro, no paginated reports, only dashboards. Premium gives you paginated reports and dashboards, obviously. You still leverage SRS reports if you have them. A big investment in those via the Power BI report server, which is the $5,000 a month option. I found most clients get by with just $20 per user per month for Power BI premium solution. Power Apps are best for web or mobile data gathering and presentation. You don't, like I said, some people might tell me I'm gonna build a whole solution in Power Apps, then I'll say fine, more power to you, but the use case for Power Apps would be the small, lightweight solutions we want to gather data. And then Power Automate enables tasks and data workflows. It's event-driven, it's data-driven. It can be as simple as you'd like or as complex as you need, all within Power Automate. And with that said, I have 4 minutes or so left. I do know Ed Collins next up. I don't know if there are any questions here.
Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat.
Like I said, I'm willing to, I think Turnkey is willing to offer kind of breakout sessions on Power BI, kind of a demo, creating your Power BI from scratch. Power Automate, same thing, start from scratch, from acceleration, right? But essentially from the very beginning. And also create a Power App, kind of like for what he's doing with the Canvas app or with the model app. If there's interest in that, I'll be willing to put that together and offer that up as well. No questions?
No questions so far, William, but great job, by the way. Very informative.
Yeah, there's a lot here. I know there's a lot here, and I probably talked a little too fast on you, but I just want to be certain that there's a full review of what the Power Platform is and how you can, why you should use it. I'm gonna stop presenting though, and turn over to Ed for the next presentation.